Hi there, Rick here. I just saw a very interesting video. It's about 9 minutes and 52 seconds long here. Okay. The title is called AI and Quantum Computing. Are we racing towards our own gorilla problem? Okay. Um, so in the beginning of the video, okay, it's just talking about um, how smart, okay, AI is becoming. Okay. Um, Quantum computers, okay, they say that, okay, China is kind of like leading the race in quantum computing. Um, you have to remember this can be quite dangerous sometimes because quantum computers, okay, I know that, they're just unbelievably smart and they're unbelievably fast, okay? Okay. It's showing this robot, okay? It almost looks kind of like uh how can I describe it? Sized gorilla, okay? And you can hop onto this machine, okay, onto its back, and it it literally carries you over um different types of terrain, kind of like um even mountainous terrain, okay? Because remember, um it walks on all fours, okay, and it can leap, jump a bit, okay, and they're just saying that it could be used for um, probably a lot of different sorts of things, okay, because um, imagine, okay, during the early days, prospectors, okay, they used uh, mules, okay, to carry their stuff, right? You could literally load all your gear onto this miniature sized gorilla, and then just get him to take you where you want to go. Okay, um, and then okay, it talked about another story how these robots um, they were uh, boxing. Okay, and they were saying how this might be the future. Okay, these robots will be boxing and boxing matches. Okay, um, there was another very interesting story. Um, okay, these two robots. Okay, they were like miniature sized, very small. Okay, probably only about 3 inches high. Okay, and they gave them a soccer ball, and they were supposed to try to score the ball into the net. Okay, um, that's the power of AI because they were using some sort of AI algorithm so that the miniature sized robots would um, kind of like learn on their own, and then kind of like um, learn from trial and error too, and write their own code. Okay, yeah, I thought that that was not possible yet. Okay, but apparently, these robots were writing their own code. Okay, and they were their skills were improving. Okay, the way they learned the game, um, they were getting smarter. Okay, um, and then there was a man in the video. Okay, he was I'll have to uh, replay the video back. So this is Geoffrey Hinton. Okay, um, I think he's involved in computer AI. Okay, and he was just saying how um, the computers can be smarter than us in 5 years. Okay. Um, Something else that was pretty cool in the video. Um, it was showing images of people. Okay. These were just still images of people. Okay. And they were getting them to, through AI, okay, move their body, right? Um, have different facial expressions, right? Um, they showed a short little video of Marilyn Monroe talking Chinese, and just the way her mouth moved, it looked like it was very very real. She knew how to speak Chinese, and that's what is it? That's AI at work. Okay, and uh, in the title here, okay, it says, "Are we racing towards our own gorilla problem?" Okay, um, the meaning of that was, okay, they were just saying that, okay, gorillas, okay, used to be like, the ruler of the forest, but then man, you know got smarter than the gorilla, and then the gorilla was behind a, um what is it, a glass partition. Okay, and then they were just relating that story to humans. Okay, once when was it, computers are smarter than humans, then humans will be the next gorilla, and then the humans will be behind a glass partition, and the computers would be the boss. They would be running everything. Okay, um, because I was going to say that, gee, um, this technology. Okay, now I'm talking about AI. Okay, um, it seems to be moving very very fast. Okay, to a point where um, major breakthroughs are being broken in AI, just because um, the technology is moving that fast. Okay, um, I was gonna say too, um, this technology could be dangerous. Okay, um, is it, science fi things? Okay, like look at the Terminator, right? Um, the Terminator was it was created by other robots. Okay, and it had a very high intelligence in terms of AI. Okay, um, what was interesting about the story too was, um, there was an AI, okay, talking to another human being, okay, and they didn't program uh, the computer to just kind of like make up a lie, okay, but the human, what was it, that was talking to the AI, thought they were talking to a robot. So the human said, "Are you a robot?" And then the computer's response was, and it said back, "I'm vision impaired." Okay, because the computer realized, okay, uh it shouldn't tell the human that it was a robot. Okay, so um the robot just made up, what is it, the excuse that it was vision impaired. Okay, so it's it's making, like I say, it wasn't programmed to, to say that when the human would ask that question about it, it generated that the answer on its own. Okay, so that's the power of AI. Okay, these the computers are almost, like I say, they're developing a level of self-conscious. Okay, um, because it was also in the video here, it was talking about how, okay, a decade ago, okay, computers would have trouble just, even having a conversation. Okay, and now we seem to be beyond that point right now where the computer, um, it could have a conversation with a normal human being. Okay, I remember Turing. Okay, Turing was around. I think he was British. Okay, and Alan Turing, that's his name. Okay, and he was very much into computers. Okay, and then he was also very smart too. Okay, and I think one of the things he was trying to achieve for the computer was, um, okay, I think he developed a test. Okay, it was called the Turing test. Okay, where a human being would not be able to see the other person. Let's just say, behind the curtain. Okay, and would be just having a normal conversation um, with the robot on the other side of the curtain. Okay, and I think after, well, we'll just say, after 10 minutes of talking to the computer, the human had no idea he was talking to a computer. And Turing was just saying how, you reached a major milestone in computing when you cannot distinguish between a robot and a human, um, when you're talking to the robot behind the curtain. Okay, um, because the computer has um, achieved a level of intelligence. Okay, that a human being could not distinguish that it was a robot behind the curtain. Okay, but the I would say that, like I say, I know I already said it, but the level of technology and at the pace um, that robots are developing, okay, in terms of um, a level of consciousness and uh, a level of consciousness and a level of intelligence. Um, it's just moving at a pace that's just, um, I would say it's kind of unbelievable right now. Because there was some things in this video that I didn't know. Like, for instance, robots just writing their own code. Okay, um, that's the power of AI. Okay, so it's going to be very interesting. How far AI is going to be within about 5 years, because um, the level of AI, um, to compute to to computers, computer intelligence is just amazing. Um, but remember too, there's a lot of countries. Okay, it's not only the United States; it's other countries like China, maybe even Japan, right? But there's other countries around the world that is they're pumping billions of dollars into AI, and I think if you don't research or try to advance your AI capabilities in your country, um, other countries um, will move a lot further ahead of you. Okay, um, and I could see this technology being integrated even into the military. Okay, just to use it as a weapon. Okay, whether it's to disable um, other electronic weapons that the other country has, or develop other forms of weapons. Okay, even robots with AI to fight the other side. Okay, because I think I said this in my other previous videos. Imagine, okay, if you taught a robot, okay, how to handle a rifle, a sniper rifle, right? Um, Imagine that if that robot, okay, became just as efficient or even more efficient than a regular human being. Okay, remember you have this robot, okay, out in the field. Okay, um, it doesn't need to eat, it doesn't need to sleep. Okay, maybe even during the nighttime, it's using infrared to find its targets. Right. Um, I would say that okay, it has kind of like a huge advantage over the human sniper, because remember, um, it doesn't need to eat, it doesn't need to sleep. It's fighting 24/7, day and night. Okay, it doesn't get tired. Um, it can communicate directly back to base because it has maybe a built-in antenna to it, right? Um, it's it's smart enough to um, just carry on a normal conversation with the person um, that it's supposed to obey, right? Um, so I was gonna say, that's I was gonna I was just gonna say, that's a little bit scary a bit because um, imagine it, being used in a way that, yeah, it's a weapon out in the battlefield, right? Um, the people, or the person responsible for turning it into a weapon, right? Imagine that person, how important that person would be to um, the military, that kind of like is giving um, millions of dollars to develop that sort of technology, right, for them, for their military.